Ladies and gentlemen, we just had wild card weekend here last week, and it was amazing. It was phenomenal. It was a lot of upsetting in some ways as well. But we got through it, and now we know who's going to be moving on to the divisional round. So let's get this thing started. Welcome to Big Fat Dubs, guys, sports podcast again. Here, Kelly and Ryan starting us off. Here we got Wild Card Weekend here to talk about, and I don't know how much you were able to watch, bro, but man, these were some good games. We had some good games, and then we also had some upsets as well. So let's go ahead and jump into this thing, unless you got something you want to add on before we get started.
I watched all the games, my friend, except for the Seahawks. And I already said that was going to be the game I didn't watch. Yep. First round of the playoffs is done. We get in the divisional round. A lot of close games. 2 games that were not close at all. A couple surprising games and like that. So we'll get right into it with the first game. The San Francisco 49ers beating the Seattle Seahawks 41-23 on a very spectacular first half. Seahawks winning 17-16 going into the halftime, and decided not to come out in the second half. And the Niners did what we thought they would do and kick the ever-living shit out of the Seahawks.
Basically, yeah. It feels like the 49ers were kind of just like toying with the Seahawks, in the first half, seeing, what they could do. And then they finally, after coming into the second half, decided, you know what, let's just go ahead and, let's open up the playbook. Let's get our shit done. Let's kick some ass.
I don't think it was them toying with them. I think Seattle came out fired up, out to prove, kind of like the whole motive of the whole year was always, let's be fired up. Let's show everybody that we're the team that's not supposed to be there and everything like that. I think they came out with I think that the Niners may have overestimated them a little bit, but then you get into halftime and then the Niners, being the team that they are and as good as they are, made the adjustments they made, and came out, fired up, ready to go. Defense stepped up their game, really pressured Geno Smith. It was kind of a shame because DK Metcalf had probably one of his best games of the year, burning the corners and like that. But in the second half, he became he was a magician. You just couldn't see him anymore. You just very disappearing.
Yeah.
And, it just goes to prove what the Niners can do. They can overcome, kind of getting slapped around in the first half to be like, okay, we're going to play football. And they did what they needed to do.
Yeah, also, too, if you look at it as well, first half Seahawks, no penalties. No penalties, which is great. Unfortunately, second half, the penalties started coming with the 3 ineligible linemen downfield. 3 of those, unfortunately, started to hurt us. It's funny because apparently they usually kind of let that go a little bit. I guess they say at least letting the lineman go 2 yards is the maximum, but they started catching that and kept. I think one guy ended up getting caught twice. I can't remember who it was. I think it was one of our center guards that got caught twice. And yeah, you got the offensive coordinator going what the hell is going on? Like I said, usually you get this maybe once in a game. And it happens on screenplays a lot, because especially when a screenplay does not go, according to plan at all. But unfortunately, that is what happened. Is the lineman got going downfield. Fortunately, the play did not get that far, so he could get out there. So we got called on that a bunch. And then Geno kind of appearing, like you said. Also, Kenneth Walker had a great game as well. In here too. I think he actually. At least got 80 yards, maybe 100. I can't remember.
He had 80 at least 80 yards. The thing is, though, the Niners, they did what they, it was the Seahawks started hurting themselves with all these penalties. And a lot of that was frustrations, and you saw the frustrations, and that's where you kind of knew that the game was already over. Geno showed a lot of frustration on a lot of things, and when Geno gets that frustrated, they're done. They're done for. They every game that Gio watched him, if he loses his cool at all, they've lost. And that's kind of the thing. And this is where Seattle going to next year, this is where you kind of need to have that kind of, mentality. It's like, okay, We lost. We got to the playoffs after not being told we're going to only win 4 games, 2 to 4 games, and then you made it, and now it's like okay, now you know where you need to fix.
Yeah.
But it also proved how good the Niners are. It really
Yes.
showed how
Yeah.
how the Niners
Yeah.
are the most dangerous team in the
Yeah.
NFC.
Yeah. I mean, I think we both, went for the Niners for this game. Oh no, you went Seahawks. I went Niners.
I went Seahawks because of the gracious in
Yeah.
my heart to actually go for my team. I will say though I knew for a fact that the Niners were going to
Yeah, like I said, that second half, McCaffrey and Debo just pretty much tore it up for him, which I expected. And so speculation, of course, is the way Brock Purdy is playing right now. Going into next year, like they were saying, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have got to make some decisions. Here with the quarterback situation going on. Obviously, Trey Lance was supposed to be the guy this year, ended up getting hurt. Garoppolo took over, did a phenomenal job until he got hurt. Now Brock Purdy's doing a phenomenal job. So there's going to be some big decisions here.
Well, the question mark is for the rest of the year and going into next year for this team is who is going to be the quarterback because in all honesty, Purdy is good, but he's got a lot to prove because a lot of the talk is he's good because the team around him.
Yes.
Which it doesn't help his favor because when you have and the great thing is they have Elijah Mitchell healthy.
Yeah.
So now instead of putting all the running game on McCaffrey and Debo, which I still think don't put Debo in the backfield, but that's neither here or there. Now you have Elijah Mitchell, so now you can run a two-headed monster with Kyle Juszczyk out of there as a fullback too. And the great thing is like none of these guys can, they're not so reliant on one guy; they're relying on the whole team.
Yeah.
Kittle didn't have himself a good game, but Debo did, and Ayuk did,
Yeah.
and McCaffrey did, and Mitchell did. And then we went, multiple weeks without Debo Samuel. But Ayuk stepped it up. Ray McCloud stepped it up.
There's always a guy that's going to step up.
Exactly.
That's the thing. That depth that they have there is just
exactly.
So great.
And that's the thing
Like
about this Niners team
yeah.
is that they live on a next man up mentality. And, you're not going to have your guys, these guys go off every week. But damn it, if you have all of them going off on that week, I'm sorry, there's no team that's going to beat them. They are the best team to face the Chiefs, in my opinion, because I still believe the Chiefs are the team to go in the AFC. And we'll talk about that going further in the other games. God, the Niners are. I'm hoping the Niners make it. We'll see what happens though come this next round.
I do as well. But yeah, I would like to. I'm interested to see how Brock Purdy goes up against Dallas here this next week.
Yeah.
So I think that's really going to tell us, what kind of a quarterback we're really going to get. I'm sorry, but you're playing the big games here now, man. I mean, this is where you got to step up, and like I said, this is your chance to literally solidify yourself as a starting quarterback here next year.
He kind of already did that in his first game beating Tom Brady.
Also, congratulations to Myers from Seattle on your contract extension as well, man.
I'll get into that about contract extensions and everything like that because I think that's what killed them. Also, is the Geno Smith signing or letting him know he's the star next year. You just killed the whole mentality, in my opinion. But that's just here there. We can do that another talk. Going to the next game, we had what started off as to being a really, really dominant game for the Chargers to a great comeback. We haven't seen in a long time. The Jaguars getting a playoff game in Jacksonville, winning 31-30 over the Chargers. Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions in the first half. I think 3 in the first quarter, actually.
Yeah.
And coming back to throw 4 touchdowns. The Jags coming on top. And honestly, I loved this game. This was, at first it was a very boring game. It was like, okay, the Chargers are playing as the Chargers should be. But the Chargers were who the Chargers were. They can't finish a game. They went passive on their play calling at the end of the game. And the Jags are not explosive. They didn't have the big, deep throw plays. They were getting the first downs. They were fighting hard. Lawrence was Lawrence played a lot better than he did against the Titans because there was the criticism I made about he was missing a lot of wide open throws. Didn't really have that in this game without being pressured. But that defense for Jacksonville, man, is That's something
That's
else.
really
That's
good
what's keeping him in the
defense.
game.
Yeah. You're lucky, yeah, like you said, Lawrence throwing all those picks. Chargers, you should have walked away with the game, especially when a quarterback throws 4 picks in a game. You should have walked away with this game, but unfortunately, you let the defense, pretty much knock you down, keep you out of the end zone, or at least keep you out of field goal range as well to help add on more. And then that led to Jacksonville being able to come back, which, like you said, this is the way the Chargers have kind of been all year. They have a great team set up on paper. They have stars there, but unfortunately, it just has not been clicking this year.
No, and a lot of that could be, you could say, the coaching or whatnot. And it probably is because they really let off the gas, and to only be held to 3 points in the second half when you're up 27-7. You're up 27-7. You're up by 20 points. And football's an interesting sport, but the way the game was rolling, you were the leader. You were the winner. We were looking at you versus the Chiefs. An AFC West matchup, but now we don't get to see that, and that's kind of your own fault. And honestly, it is what it is. And you could say the Jags are the better team. Not necessarily. I think the Chargers were just playing outright garbage, and they gave up, and everything like that. So I got nothing else on this game except for that.
Like I said, it just I think Jags just got real lucky, and because of the Chargers just not being able to finish like they have some games this season.
They've been on a roll, and I credit them for that and everything like that. But we'll talk about their next game and everything like that coming up. Moving on to the next game, we have the Bills and the Dolphins. This was another game that should have been way blown out and everything like that. The Bills beating the Dolphins 31-34, but there were a lot of mistakes made by the Bills and Josh Allen alone that kept Miami in the game. All credit to Miami for staying in there and fighting till the very end and everything like that. And for the Bills to win and everything like that. I will be upfront. I know the Bills are your team. A game like this does not make me confident in their Super Bowl run because, like I've said before, Josh Allen makes too many mistakes at the worst times. He had a couple picks. He had that crucial fumble that led to a touchdown that actually Miami took the lead on going at that and everything like that. There's way too many mistakes to be made for how good this team really is. And again, I love the Bills. Don't get me wrong. I really love them. But you're not giving me confidence that you are going to make it to that Super Bowl like you've been talking, like everyone's been saying. Ugh. That's my thought.
Like you said, yeah, I love the Bills. I love Josh Allen. But unfortunately, this year, his interception ratio is up. For some reason, it's not giving me very much confidence, especially here for their game next week. We'll talk about that. But yeah, it's just Josh is a little off this year. I don't know if it's just because he's a bit more cocky this year, or just trying to force too much this year, or what the deal is. But it's just like I said earlier in the season when he started throwing at least a couple interceptions this game, he was just forcing it too much. And then when you finally saw that one game where they actually dialed it back a little bit, he actually did really well. Obviously it wasn't big numbers that he put up, but still, he didn't force anything. He actually made the correct throws. We need to get back to that. Yes, you have great weapons on that Bills offense, but it doesn't help when you try to force it into these guys, especially when you're going up against playoff teams.
Yep. All right, moving on to the next game, we have Giants and the Vikings. Giants getting the win, 31-24. As much as this game was very, very close, honestly, it felt very one-sided that the Giants were going to win from the get-go. I think that the Giants are a team that no one gave any hope for,
Nope.
And with them being healthier, with Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley being healthy all year, it's really shown And I love their coach, Brian Darble. He's actually such a great coach for this team. This Giants team is a team to watch out for. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year or the year after. You know, they're playing very well, and they're going to give
Yeah,
their team in the next round. They're going to give them some trouble. I don't, you know, they might not win, but they could give some noise, and you never know. I mean, you think about the two Super Bowls that Eli Manning won. The Giants were always wild card teams. You know, are we going to see it again? You know, you never know. But like watching this game, like Daniel Jones had a really good game, but so did Saquon, and Saquon really has been the key factor for this team's success. And it's been nice because we knew Saquon coming out of Penn State was going to be just this great running
right.
back, and he's never
Yes.
had the years to do it because he's always been so hurt. Now that he's been healthy, we're seeing the Saquon Barkley that we know that we were going to have. And you know what? It's like you and I talked about. The Vikings were never going to win. They're Kirk Cousins too inconsistent. The team was too overhyped. You know, you have so many weapons with on your receiving game with Jefferson, Thielen, Hawkinson. You know, you have Dalvin Cook out of the backfield. You have Mattinson. You have a bunch of weapons, and Kirk can't get it together.
Yeah, despite their 13-4 record, if you look at those four losses, those were the ones that Kurt had bad games in, I believe. At least three of them I know he had bad games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, honestly, when it comes down to that Viking offense, it actually comes down to which Kirk Cousins is going to show up. I mean, obviously, people say, well, Dalvin Cook couldn't get it going this year as well. But I mean, that's
Dalvin Cook
yeah,
is overrated, in my opinion.
I think so too.
He's gotten really good numbers, but you also remember he's one of the most fumbled running backs in the NFL, next to Devin Singletary and Buffalo. Like they fumble the ball a lot, but also too in a lot of those wins for the Vikings, that defense bailed Kirk out. You know, I can
Yeah,
recall the Bills game. That defense bailed him out and got him to win. And again, that was again they forced Josh Allen to make those bad plays. You know, I think the Vikings defense deserves a lot more credit for this year than Kirk Cousins in that offense.
exactly. I mean, I'm so happy that the Vikings actually won the division.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, good for them. But when it came to looking at them in the playoffs, I didn't have the confidence in them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, when we saw this game come up, it's like I'm actually looking more at the Giants. I feel like the Giants.
Exactly.
Daniel Jones has been playing some great football lately. Like we haven't seen him do, but he's finally what fourth year,
Third or fourth year.
third or fourth year. So he's getting it. Barkley healthy all season long.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, literally, I think that Giants offense is literally just two great wide receivers away from being a big threat team.
Exactly. It also showed how strong this, as we get to this and everything like that. It also show how strong that NFC East actually was. You know, actually is and everything like that. But moving on to the next game, last game of the Sunday games, we had the Bengals and the Ravens, a very close game. Kind of the deciding factor was the 98-yard fumble return for a touchdown for the Bengals. Again, honestly, Bengals, you should have wiped the floor with this team.
They should have.
And I'm not saying that because both the Dolphins and the Ravens have backup quarterbacks in there, but the teams don't. But it really is down to that because the teams relied so much on Tua and Lamar that it was like they kept him in the game, and you know the Bengals. You're not as strong as you were last year, and actually, you're kind of in the same motion where you're kind of getting these wins. You're kind of getting these good, lucky wins, but you're not. You don't give me confidence. You don't give me confidence on everything like that. I don't think Burrow had a good game. I don't think that offense really had a good game. I think the defense really stepped up for them, and it's unfortunate for the Ravens' loss because Mark Andrews had a great year. Unfortunately, he went down after his injury, but Lamar's injury really took a toll on it. Um, so that's all I gotta say of this game. It was kind of a game I watched, but I was also like, man, Bengals, you're supposed to be this great team. You're kind of not playing like it.
Yeah. I will say this. I will actually give props to Lamar Jackson coming out and saying, hey, my leg is not 100% right now to come out and play this game. Yes, I could go out and do it, but I don't want to risk it at this
Well, I
point,
don't blame him for that.
especially because he actually tweeted about it and he actually showed the picture of Robert Griffin III of when it happened to him when he was playing for the Redskins back then, what happened to him when he played with his bad leg. He's like, I don't want that to happen with me because, Lamar gets hurt in this game. Same thing could have happened, where they lost. Huntley comes in and still doesn't do as great. It's on paper, yes, the Bengals should have wiped the floor with the Ravens. But people are saying, well, yeah, if Lamar would have played, I don't think Lamar probably would have been
Well,
as big a factor.
I'm not saying force him into this game after the injury. I'm saying a healthy Lamar.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what
saying
I'm
if it was
saying.
a healthy Lamar,
Yes.
because he made the right decision doing that. I'm saying that if the injuries weren't a factor with Lamar's injury, at least with Lamar's injury, Andrews, came back and everything like that. But if Lamar was healthy and the way that he was going all year, the Bengals would not have won this game because a lot of the plays that Huntley messed up on, a lot of those touchdown, those passes and everything like that, Lamar would have made those throws. An injured Lamar, if he would have played, they still would have lost. But I'm just saying,
I think it would be a much closer loss than what it should.
I
I
I
think.
don't know
I
because
think honestly. I think
the
right
thing
now.
with the thing with injured Lamar though, the thing about Lamar is his game is with his legs and his arm. And injured Lamar, he's more focused on his arm than his legs. I don't think though it's not a big factor because he's not a pocket passer.
Yeah.
So it still would have been as bad, if not a little bit worse, if it was Lamar in now. But a healthy Lamar, the Ravens would have beat the Bengals,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Like I said, props to you. You know what? Sit out, get ready for next season, be ready to go. All right. I believe that wraps it up, everybody. Please let us. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm trying with the Monday night game.
Yeah, obviously, it's a game that Kelly didn't watch, and I know he didn't watch it because it was on. It was on when I came home, and he was not watching it. I'd actually a game that you kind of expected throughout the year. The Cowboys beating the Buccaneers 31-14. Brady really. I mean, the Buccaneers were a joke this year.
66 attempts.
Oh yeah,
damn.
well, the Buccaneers relied so much on Brady, and there was a lot of injuries with the offensive line. Team just wasn't playing right. It was bound to happen. The Cowboys got the much needed win. Dak had himself a really nice game. And just the Cowboys themselves had a really nice game. I don't really credit though the fact that the Cowboys really dominated the Buccaneers. They dominated because the Buccaneers are a team that on paper should not even been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's that gracefulness of making it because you're a division champion. It's the same thing when Seattle made it when they were 7-9, and the Panthers made it one year at 7-9. Yes, the Seahawks end up winning one of their playoff games on a miraculous game, but in reality, they should not have been there because it's a losing record. Same thing with the Buccaneers. We'll see what happens next year. There's rumors that Tom Brady could leave. There's obviously the notion that Tom Brady's going to retire. However, Brady is probably not going to retire. He'll probably go to a different team.
He's going to keep us in the dark.
There's at least 3 teams outside of the Buccaneers. There's at least 3 teams that are in line for a potential Brady visit and Brady signing. There are 2 heavy favorites, and one's kind of, he grew up a fan of this team. The teams being Miami, Las Vegas, and San Francisco. I don't think San Francisco is going to be the one because they're kind of moving forward with Purdy or Trey Lance. Vegas is probably the likely candidate because Derek Carr is not coming back. And I believe he also has a house in Las Vegas. Miami, again, they rely a lot on Tua. It's just unfortunate Tua's year of injuries.
Well, I saw a report too that because of the concussions to sustained this year, that they medicals actually telling him consider retirement.
Well, he had 3 in 1 year, and so
That's why.
well, that's yeah. I mean, there's no fighting that. Like you had 3 major concussions, and one of them in your second one, you actually should not even been on the field. So that's it for the playoff games for the wild card weekend. So now we're going to move forward to the division round. And again, let us know how you guys did with your picks, and let us know what you pick on these ones as we start off with the first matchup tomorrow, which will be the first matchup of the AFC playoff race. It'll be the number 1 seeded. I don't know why I almost said San Diego. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, the number 4 seed in Kansas City. I don't think there's a question. My pick is Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs as well. Jaguars, you got lucky, getting past the Chargers, but it stops here.
You know,
but good expectations for the Jags going into next.
I think
year,
this game actually is gonna be close. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think it will be a close game, but I do see the Chiefs winning, and everything like that. Next game for tomorrow, we have an NFC East battle, which was kind of funny. They showed a list of division teams that are still left in the AFC. It's really funny. It's all the division leaders. So you literally have the East, West, North, and South represented. For the NFC, you have 1 West and 3 East. Kind of sums up the year for that.
Right.
So we got the Philadelphia Eagles, number 1 seed, versus the number 5 seeded New York Giants in Philadelphia. Go ahead and say your pick.
I'm gonna roll with the Eagles.
Okay. Not a bad pick.
Hurts is gonna be back, so I think that's gonna be a big help to that offense, especially with him getting out there, running around, help making plays.
Well, he came back on week 18, but now I had a week of rest, so he's a little bit more healthy and everything like that. I am also going to pick the Eagles, but I have a very strong feeling
I know, right?
This upset could happen. And I want to see it happen, but we'll see what happens there. Going into the next matchup, we had the number 2 seeded for the AFC, Buffalo Bills, hosting the number 3 seeded Cincinnati Bengals. I'll let you go first for that one again.
I'm like, as I've said many times, I'm rolling with the Bills every game, but I do have concerns about this game, especially the way Allen's been playing. But if the Bengals are on the struggle bus here too a little bit, that kind of gives me a bit more hope for the Bills. Yes, Bills.
I'm going to go Bengals. I trust that their defense is going to force more turnovers on the Bills, which is going to cost them. So give me the Bengals over there. And then finally we have the number 2 seeded San Francisco 49ers hosting the number 5 seeded Dallas Cowboys. Oh, I said number 5 for Giants. They're number 6. So we have the Cowboys and the Niners, which is probably looking like the best matchup of the weekend.
Classic.
It is a very classic one. So all you old school Cowboys and Niners fans, this takes you back to the 1990s when the Cowboys and the 80s and 90s when the Niners and the Cowboys were running the NFL. And if people remember last year, the Niners went into Dallas and upset the Cowboys on their trip to the NFC Championship. I rolled with them. I'm going to continue rolling with them, but I'm going with the Niners.
Even though I am a big Seahawks fan, I was born into a 49ers family, so I am going with the 49ers as well. Just because, it's just how the amount of weapons, as we've said many times, are on that 49ers offense, and plus that defense has just been phenomenal. I just don't see the Cowboys getting past all that.
Well, the thing about this matchup, what I like the most is that both these teams' defenses are really good. However, There hasn't been an offense that the Cowboys have faced that is going to be more difficult to stop than the
Exactly.
Niners.
Exactly.
So this is a true test for them. I think as the Niners defense facing the Cowboys offense, I think that's a very easy. That's a little bit better stop because they're not a big receiver threat like DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett or a Cooper Cup or something like that nature. You know, nothing against CeeDee Lamb and all them, but they don't compare to what they've just faced. Dak, very much like Geno Smith, has a lot of struggles, has a lot of success, but then you get him a little bit, on the struggle, and then he starts down. They do have a two-headed monster with Pollard and Zeke, but that kind of duo has kind of died down a little bit. And with Eric Armstead now healthy for the 49ers, that kind of solidifies their defensive line to be a lot more dominant outside of just Bosa. We'll see what happens there. So that's it for the playoffs. Let us know what you guys pick. Let us know what you guys think and everything like that. We're going to move on to the last part of the show, which is going to be sports talk, which we're just going to do the Kraken because we just don't watch the NBA. I know. Big shout out to the Seattle. Big shout out to June 11th, which will be the retirement number for Sue Bird at the Seattle Storm. That's amazing. Sue Bird, just an amazing career and what she's done for the city of Seattle and the Storm organization and the WNBA as a whole, in women's basketball. So amazing there. We do have the up and coming XFL season starting up soon with the Sea Dragons. Not really liking the name, but who the hell cares?
Well, when they added the C part, because I'm pretty sure it was just Dragons.
It was just Seattle Dragons
just
last
Seattle
year.
Dragon, but now it's the Seattle Sea Dragons.
We don't need C in everything. C does not need to be everything. We're not the Sea Krakens or Sea Sounders or Sea Storm,
Sea Horses,
Sea Mariners. It's just it's really dumb. And obviously basketball. There's no Seattle team. The closest team is Portland. Blazers. I wish the closest team was the Warriors, but that's a different game. Going to the NHL, we have now kind of our standings here, but the one we'll talk about is the Seattle Kraken, who made history a week ago, winning 8 straight games, the most in NHL history, winning 7 in a row on the road with the 1 game at home.
Yep.
Now regaining first place in the Pacific Division. Now, I just had to look this up. Kraken have now tied their most wins in a year. Fuck off telling me it's a new franchise record coming up. But it's an accomplishment that they've already, at this point, have the same amount of wins they had all year last year.
Right. And we still got until April, for the season. So obviously, winning season from last year. It's been great watching these games lately when we've been having a chance to. It's actually been really exciting. Like Ryan said, he went to the game and he was engaged into it. He enjoyed the hell out of it. It's different watching it, of course, at home than it is going to seeing it in real life. But it's fun to watch. It is, especially when you finally hear that buzzer go off for a goal, and it's just the whole place erupts.
Well, that and like the thing about hockey was like
it's suspenseful.
It's suspenseful. It's fast paced and even like now since last year when I started watching hockey, I was okay. I was like, okay, this is fun, everything like that, but I still didn't understand the game. Now from then to now, I understand the game a little bit more. There's maybe one penalty. There's one call I don't really understand, but I don't remember which one it is. But like understanding like the positions and the one thing about when I watch the Kraken, and most teams probably do this, but I really focus it on the Kraken because again that's the team I'm rooting for.
Yeah,
is their movement of the puck is so fluent and it's so fast paced, and there's a much appreciation for hockey goalies because they have a split second to find this puck amongst the what is it, 8 guys that are on the ice already without getting hit. Like they're trying to, and then when they get their hands on the puck, or they go to like brush it out. Now you have guys swinging your sticks at them, and they're trying to call their defense and call out like, hey, we got guys coming out, backdoor, backdoor. There's such an appreciation for this game that it's like, okay, I have a much deeper appreciation for a game, the game of hockey, and I want to continue watching more and more outside of the Kraken. The Olympics and the NHL playoffs. I've always liked, but I never really watched them. It's kind of like, okay, yay, this team won the championship, awesome. Now it's like, okay, now I have much more appreciation that I can understand what the hell is going on.
Yeah. Definitely, like you said, there's still some like penalties, like I'm kind of questioning about. We actually have somebody who's been involved in hockey their whole life that we're going to eventually set up to become on the show. To give us a bit more understanding about the game and also what's going on in the league, what he's seen as well. So look forward to that. But yeah, great to see the Kraken up on top in the Pacific.
Yep, and as you see here, for any other fans that are like that, we go by division. You have Boston, who's been really the best team in hockey right now, and that's an amazing record right there, 36-5 and 4. That's amazing.
One of them losses to the Kraken.
Still, 36 freaking wins and 5 losses. You have the Carolina Hurricanes in the Metropolitan League at 28-9, which is my uncle's favorite team. He's from North Carolina.
The Dallas Stars.
The Dallas Stars, yep, 27-13, leading the Central Division.
Yeah, the Avalanche aren't doing.
Yep, the Avalanche, defending Stanley Cup champions, sitting there at 24-17, and obviously the Seattle Kraken at 27-14. The Vegas Golden Knights is just a game back, two games back. Or one game back of the Seattle Kraken. Vegas has kind of always been the heavy favorite coming out of the Western Conference ever since their expansion like that. So if you base it off a conference here, Seattle Kraken is sitting in 3rd place, which is still respectful. Very respectful, behind the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars. In the league itself, the Kraken is 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8th best in the 10, NHL. Yeah. That's top 10, everything like that. There's nothing more you can say. As we pull up the Kraken and everything like that, we'll go through some stats, everything like that. A player to watch out for the future, who's been kind of like anytime we watch him, he always scores or is involved in everything, is Matty Beniers. Their rookie, their star rookie, who again, for anyone that's missed it before, this is a first for Seattle, where we have 3 rookies in any of the major sports make it into an all-star game. Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners, Tyreek Woodland of the Seattle Seahawks, and now Matty Beniers is our lone all-star for the NHL for the Seattle Kraken. And potentially, you could see those guys winning some awards too. Julio already won the Rookie of the Year for Major League Baseball. There's a strong case, probably not, because it's probably going to go to Sauce Gardner.
I think it will go.
But, unless they split them up by actual conferences. Tyreek Woodland could actually win the Defensive Rookie of the Year for the NFC.
You're right.
And there's a very strong case Matty Beniers could win the Rookie of the Year for the NHL.
Yeah.
Kind of looking like it right now.
Also, you are probably seeing as well, if the Kraken keep this up, playoff team. And you'll see us, another Seattle sports team, hitting the playoffs as well, which I don't think we've ever had that too, having multiple of our teams hitting the playoffs in the same year.
Well, we've already had it for the first time in the history of Seattle sports. We've had the Seahawks and the Mariners make the playoffs. Potentially, we could see the Kraken. As you see, our goalies here, 2 in particular, Martin Jones and Philip Grubauer, which is the 2 goalies that we kind of use. I'll say this though, Grubauer is a good backup goalie. He has a lot of struggles and everything like that, but if you ever get the chance to watch a Kraken game, definitely watch a game where Martin Jones is in the net. He is good. He is very, very athletic. He's very, very knowledgeable. He runs a really good.
He's a veteran. I mean, he's been around for a while. I know they've been talking about him a lot, how he's been around stuff, and like he's just he's really has solidified himself this year as a top 5
Mhm.
goalie in the league.
Oh yeah.
So
Um, so a lot of cool stats here is um, 748 saves. They're really close on the save percentage here, 89 to 88% here. You got a 2.84 goals per game for the Martin Jones. You got 3.37 for Philip Grubauer, and then this kid has only been in one game,
yeah,
gave up 4. Thanks for playing.
that was
See you
when
later.
that was when Grubenauer was actually out with injury and
Yep.
waiting for him to come back.
So
Jones also winning the Ice Player of the Week or something like that because he had 3 uh, shutouts in a week, uh, which was great to get him that nomination.
yep.
So congrats to Aaron Jones there.
And a little bit of going back to the skaters. Leading the league, leading the team in goals is Jared McCann, followed by Matty Beniers, leading the team in assists. We have Andre Borowski, Jordan Eberle, Vince Dunn, and Yanni Gord kind of leading the way of over 20 assists and everything like that. Kind of you see the numbers here and just seeing how much like people are involved. It's not so much relying
They're
on
spreading it around. Like
exactly.
it's just not like a one forcing like one guy to take all the shots or 2 guys. It's been a complete team effort.
Well, especially you're looking at the points, which for people that don't know the point system, that is goals and assists combined. That is your total points. As you can see, Andre Berlowski is actually leading the team at 38. Matty Beniers is closely behind him at 36. And these are cool numbers to look at too. Like Matty is 17 goals and 19 assists, which means he's not just a goal scorer, but he's going to set you up. McCann, which wings are generally your scorers, so you don't see him get assists a lot. You do see him score a lot more, but as you see him here with the most goals. But you have
Leading the league.
is he leading the league?
He's leading the league.
Okay, that's really cool. Then you have like Berlowski here, who is or Burkowski, excuse me, with 13 goals, but he has 25 assists, which means there's a good setup pace and everything like that. You know, it's one of those things where, like, as you understand the game and everything like that, there's a little bit of knowledge to learn, but it's fun to see like how this team is really balanced on the from start to finish. And most lineups that I've seen in the NHL, they put everything on their first 2 lines, and then third and fourth line are very much like guys who might not play or are going to very little. But it almost seems like with the Kraken, they've really spread their lineups out enough. They're like, okay, first lineups obviously our go-to. Second lineup, we're killers. Third lineup, killers. So great job, Kraken. Please keep this up. We look forward to seeing you guys and everything like that. How you do the rest of the year, and seeing if you guys can make it to the playoffs. Um, we'll do a little college basketball rankings. As you can see, um, Houston still holding number one. I think Houston's been up there for quite some time, actually.
I've really not been paying
Um,
attention to men's basketball. So
a team that's been on the struggle, I know it's a big hype team, is Gonzaga. I'll be the first to say, Washington resident to say this. I think they're overhyped. I think every year they're overhyped because they kill it in the regular season, but when they get to the big dance, they choke. So
well, I think what the running thing is like they just don't have any competition really in their division, and
you've heard me say that all the time that their conference, which their conference now is stepping up, but their conference before is not good at all. Going to Pac-12 standings for men's basketball, UCLA is killing it. Kind of what you expect out of this team. Arizona State, Utah, Oregon. Arizona, actually, funny note about Oregon, they are in line to get one of the top recruits in high school basketball.
nice.
You want to know who that is? LeBron's son has a very
Really,
strong consideration to go to Oregon.
instead of going to
Ohio State.
wow,
A lot of it's because, as you know, a lot of there is the new NIL deals, which are the college players get the.
oh god, yeah, I haven't seen that
Well, one sponsor that he has is Nike,
from his dad.
and Nike is also the big sponsorship because of their founder went to the University of Oregon. Oregon and Nike go hand in hand. There's a strong case. Not saying, and I will call it. I think he will because of that deal, but it's also a better. It's a better market for him with Oregon. Oregon's a pretty good basketball program. Ohio State's very up and down. I think he also probably wants to go to Oregon to be his own person because his dad kind of is always been like, well, if I went to college, I would have gone to Ohio State. I think Bronny wants to be his own kid. Wants to be his
Yeah.
own journey. And Bronny,
You
I'll
don't
say
have to
this.
follow completely in your dad's shoes.
No, and Bronny, I'll say this: go to Oregon. I think that'd be a great fit for you. You know, be a duck.
Go where you fit. You feel like you deserve. Honestly,
Yep.
What do you feel? What calls to you? What do you like? Do you like what program do you like? What coach do you know? Do you
And
feel
honestly,
is a
too,
good fit?
especially with your sponsorship, if it's with Nike, and if you go to Oregon, that's just gonna you're gonna be well off. And then rounding out the Northwest teams, you have Washington and Washington State, kind of towards the bottom here, kind of middle towards the bottom, and in last place, probably no surprise to anyone, it's the Beavers. So that's it. College basketball, what's going on?
Okay, I was just seeing if there's somebody there I was not seeing.
We did get the releases of the Pac-12 schedule for football. There's a lot of cool things happening there. I'll be the first to say it. Don't get hyped on the Deion Sanders Colorado bandwagon just yet.
Oh man,
I think the first year will be rough because he's going to be jumping into the big boys league in the Pac-12, which still has USC and UCLA for another year. And then with Washington and Oregon and Utah, Colorado's got a lot to step into, so let's see what happens there. Going into women's rankings real quick. Generally, with these ones, you'll see kind of normally South Carolina's just they're a good ass program.
UConn's only number 5. Wow.
Well, they've also had 2 losses. It's kind of a
That's what
kind
I
of a
mean.
rarity right there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Kind of a rarity right there. UConn being a very dominant program. Everything else you kind of see. Stanford is another program that's been kind of dominating the basketball world. Notre Dame. And as we get into the standings of the only one we'll ever pay attention to, which is the Pac-12. Obviously, you see Stanford. They're just so good. Colorado, that's a surprise. Utah, UCLA, Arizona, USC, Oregon being the top Northwest team, sitting at 4-4 and a 13-6 record. We have Washington State, pretty decent. Oregon State, oh, literally, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. And Washington kind of rounding up. Not surprised. Washington hasn't been really good since Kelsey Plum.
Yeah. Yeah, I would.
And even then, before Kelsey Plum, they weren't even that great.
Yeah, it's almost like going back to the men's as well. I mean, they really haven't been that good since the Isaiah Thomas days.
Yeah, they had like the 1 year with DeJounte Murray, where they went to the big dance, but I really missed the Lorenzo Romar, Nate Robinson to Isaiah Thomas years. Those were so much fun to watch. You know, and I liked the couple years the Cougars were good, but like watching the Huskies back then from Nate Robinson, Brandon Roy, John Brockman, Isaiah Thomas, all those guys, man, they were so much fun to watch. They were so much fun to watch. And
yeah,
there were a lot of fans there too.
I mean, that was kind of the only time I really even watched some Husky basketball because like I was just hearing all this hype. Like, dude, the guys were on a tear. They're ranked. Dude, they're in the March Madness. It was
they won a couple Pac-12 tournament titles, to get in.
Yeah.
I think one of those years they were the number 1 seed and everything like that. They were good. And then it was really fun watching Kelsey Plum in Washington. It was kind of random. Like she
just came out of nowhere and just lit it up.
She lit it up. As we get into closer to springtime, we'll get into baseball. The Mariners starting, as well as the UW softball, which care about UW's baseball or Washington baseball. Oregon State's kind of the baseball team of the Northwest. Washington being the dominant softball program. Looking to see how they do there. That's it for the sports show for tonight. Couple things we'll drop is we're going to do a couple more bracketology ones. We have one in line, and we just kind of find one for another for next week. Obviously, we'll do a new episode of Mario Monday. And then going forward with sports, we talked about this just a minute ago. We are going to do every 2 weeks for the Kraken and the Mariners because there's a lot of games per week. So we figured we just do 2 weeks.
It would be way too much for us just to cover like each individual game.
Yeah, and that way we can break down averages on stuff. So we're just going to do every 2 weeks. We're going to take all the records and everything like that. We're going to put them into one. Movie wise, we do have another trailer coming through. I'll do the official trailer for Scream 6 review. And we will do set up a movie review. It'll probably just be me, but I will do my Avatar Way of the Water and Black Panther Wakanda Forever reviews.
I'll actually be able to do that with you now.
Have you seen Black Panther?
It just came out today on Disney Plus.
Really?
Yeah.
It was supposed to not come out until February 1st.
Oh, wait, that's right. Fuck. I just got totally excited about that because I was like, oh yeah, today's the 20th. That's supposed to come out.
Well, we can wait to do that one until you actually watch it on Disney Plus.
Anyway, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I was like, yeah, it came out today, but
yeah,
I was going to watch it
originally. It was actually supposed to come out today.
Oh, well.
But obviously the big one we are going to do is Ant-Man Quantumania when it comes out and everything like that. So expect to see new things. And we have a couple new... Like I said, we have a couple ideas of bringing some guests in. We do have someone who is a basketball fan that we can give all you basketball fans some love, potentially. Like you said, we have a friend who is a hockey fan that's going to come on that will give a little bit more insight on the Kraken and everything like that. Got anything?
No, obviously this stream is a little bit shorter than normal, both because it's playoff football weekend, so fewer teams. So that's why we were throwing in this other stuff here, kind of get you guys a bit more other stuff that we pay attention to. But this is probably the way it's going to be here for a little while, especially as we move on. A little bit less to talk about, so a little bit shorter. But like I said, we'll start spraying out, adding some stuff here and other news as well. So yeah, stay tuned to the channel. Like I said, we have stuff coming. Mario Mondays. We look for that as that's already ready to go here for us. And yeah, if you guys have any suggestions, like I said, as always, you are more than welcome to hear them.
That being said, too, there was one thing I did forget. I think we'll talk about this. Kind of continue with our nerd review and everything like that. We do have the 30th anniversary of Mighty Morphin Power. There's a special coming on Netflix, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Always and Forever. It's a 30-year special, which will have the return of kind of the mixture of the original team with the secondary team. The Rangers are including our Rocky, Kat, Aisha, Adam of the secondary team, with Billy and Zach coming back from the original. First time they have came back in the history in their time, as well as a new character who is I don't remember her name or anything like that, but she is the daughter of Trini, which for those who may be Power Rangers fan who are questioning about that, the actress who played Trini passed away early 2000s in an unfortunate car accident. Amy Jo Johnson and Austin St. John, who played Jason and Kimberly, will not be returning for that special. And as always, and as you know, obviously Jason David Frank will no longer be there because he unfortunately is no longer with us in this world. There is a little bit of homage to him in that. And then kind of a news that we talked about, speaking of Power Rangers, this new season, which is called Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. I come up with some fucking names for all these things. But for the first time in Power Rangers history, there is going to be a female Red Ranger leading the team, which is the first and ever, which is very, very exciting, very cool. Again, it's one of those things that, the Red Ranger was always the guy. It was always the jock. He was the guy in charge. But now we get that in a female role, which is going to be awesome. I think that's great. And I think I think the cast is going to do a wonderful job. Best of luck to you guys in this new upcoming season. And only on Netflix.
I have to resubscribe to Netflix now.
right? That's what I said too. I'm like, God damn, I gotta get Netflix to watch this special.
It's actually funny. Yeah, we both like dropped Netflix around the same time, just because I mostly dropped because I just wasn't watching anything on. It wasn't anything bad or anything bad. The reason I dropped it just I just was
And a lot of the
interested.
streaming service
So
just when you have all the streaming services, they really just
yeah,
with we have the live TV one that's $85. Disney is
I'm pretty sure you people here watching this, you got some live streaming services as well, and like it's still controversial today. Is it still worth it getting all the streaming services better than just getting some cable? There's
yes.
pros and cons to both, obviously, but yeah, it's thing like I do like about the streaming services. They're only monthly. Cancel them and then resubscribe anytime you want to. For me, I kind of like to look at what are my main. I usually just use three of them because there's shows on each one that I enjoy watching. Where right now I'm watching a bunch of anime ones on one, while on Disney Plus, they always got new stuff coming out with like Marvel and Star Wars. So to say, but yeah,
Well, that's the thing too is like with I say they are worth it because um obviously for us, if you bought cable, we don't really watch any of the channels. But for us, having Fubo, we're not sponsored.
yeah, right.
We're not sponsored.
No,
But it's good because for us, we went 3 years without watching Mariners or Kraken because we didn't have the channel. Now we do and everything like that, which is awesome. But Disney Plus, because of all the new Marvel stuff, Star Wars stuff, also it's fun to watch movies that we grew up watching and TV shows, having that access. Because obviously with cable, a lot of those reruns that you may see, you have to pay extra for those channels,
or they're on a time that
or you
you're
have
gonna
to
be
be up at 3 in the morning to
Yeah,
watch. Hey, Disney is playing reruns of Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Yeah, and you're like, well, not gonna watch it.
yeah,
If you were a fan of Zack and Cody back in the day or like that. Now it's available on streaming. HBO Max is nice because for me, I love Big Bang Theory. It's the show I go to bed to. It's nice because I can play it and everything like that. Paramount Plus with Nickelodeon. There's a lot of cool things. So streamings are worth it. You just got to make sure you budget.
yeah.
Just
You
got to
gotta make sure
budget.
you budget, and that's the other thing is like with streaming services, you get to watch on your time.
Yeah.
You get to watch all these movies, you get to watch all these shows when you have the time to do it. That's one of the big benefits, especially if people that are workaholics that don't have time to go out and see new movies when they come out. They wait for it to come out on a streaming service, stuff like that. Or people, yeah, that can't are working when their favorite TV show is running for the week. They have to wait for it to come out. Or I believe Hulu usually like next day or following week
Yeah.
releases the latest episode.
Yeah, it's like Family
Uh,
Guy on Hulu will play it the next day. If you're a fan
yeah,
of wrestling, if you don't have live TV for Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown or NXT, Hulu very next day will play it. But there's also Peacock you can also watch on, and there's so many cool things that,
yeah.
with streaming services.
It's always going to be like what is it that you want to get out of it? I mean, if you're literally getting a streaming service for one show, is it worth it? That's the way I kind of look at it. I try to see what I can find out, what I can find through each one. If I can find at least like three things,
Mhm.
I find it to be worth it. But then, yeah, once I'm done with those, and it's like, okay, is there anything else on here? Doesn't look like it, so I'll probably end up canceling. But until something else comes on, then say, all right, I'll just re-up it.
I'd say my top three streaming services is Disney Plus. One is because I watch. There's more value for me on Disney Plus. Followed by HBO Max, and I'm not going to say Fubo because it's kind of easy because it's
No,
live. I'm going to say number three is probably Hulu because all the movies and the TV shows I watch everything. So
yeah,
I don't really watch Peacock except for now
yeah.
now my favorite show Brooklyn Nine-Nine is also on there, so I can rewatch it there. But I only watch it for Paramount Plus. Is just it's got a few. Actually, speaking of Paramount Plus, talking to
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, mine's pretty much Disney Plus, HBO Max. I've been enjoying it because it's got more of the Disney, excuse me, not Disney, DC stuff on there, plus some movies
yep,
that I enjoy. And then I think my other one is actually one I've been using is the Funimation,
yep. We're
because
watching
that's where
Dragon Balls.
where I've been watching Dragon Ball Z, watching yes, Dragon Ball Z, plus the movies on there that they have, along with actually One Piece, and then uh, I found one other show. I'm not sure if I'll watch either, but it's been worth it. Uh, Amazon Prime, obviously, I have too because I am a Prime member, but I don't use it as much since I have these other ones because pretty much what I was watching on that is I have it on all this other stuff. Plus, they took a lot of stuff that I had on that was just Prime, so it was free to watch. They took that off of there, so and it's like now it's like, well, that's mainly why I was watching the show was because you had it for free for me to watch, but now you don't anymore. So,
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in for this show tonight. As always, like, subscribe, punch that notification bell, and let us know what you guys think about the show. Let us know what you guys' thoughts are for this upcoming football's playoffs, something like that. Let us know what you guys thought about the Kraken. If there's anything you guys want to let us talk about, let us know. Obviously, again, tune in to our next shows. Live stream for sports and our Mario Mondays and bracketologies, everything like that. Got anything else?
nope. Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the playoff football. Uh, enjoy all the sports that are going on right now as winter's starting to wind down here. Some.
Yep.
So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
And as always, Kamehameha, send you home.